So Jason, how has the extended workforce evolved since you started Brightfield?
I think the biggest difference between the 16 years ago Brightfield versus today in the extended workforce was just the overall stigma of what does it mean to be a contingent worker. In those days, everyone was bending over backwards to come up with the next euphemism so we never say temp worker again. And nowadays, we just don't hear that tension anymore. Nowadays, people in the gig economy are just as specialized and sought after, if not more so. It's no longer seen as a lesser role, certainly not to the degree that it used to be and not spoken about out loud. So therefore, all of the other things about when we talk about the golden age of the contingent workforce or the extended workforce, now that becomes ever more possible because when the social stigma was holding it back, all the other theories only exist on paper versus reality. So
I think you're onto something.
Past the noise.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. I've heard quite a few times actually that stigma has been removed or relinquished. And now I haven't heard the term golden age of the contingent workforce, but I like it. What do you think has driven this change in paradigm regarding the extended or contingent workforce, and particularly the lifting of that stigma?
I think it's a variety of things that are each happening on different timescales. So some of these are forces or drivers that we've been seeing for a couple of decades. The idea that people don't want to overhire and then have to reduce headcount as a result of that. You'll hear people talk about that very, very often, the classic boom bust cycle and trying to modulate within that. I think other things that have been happening over time as people got used to dealing with smaller projects. It's a specialized project, digital transformation. Those things were always around. But then all of a sudden you have the impact of the pandemic, making everyone realize that our remote teams can be more remote than ever. And that's actually becoming commonplace across the entirety of the organization. So then that better frees up something that was already a driver, globalization. People have been writing about globalization for 2 decades. Earth is flat, world is flat. And so now having that leave just the auspices of IT into the entire organization, I think all of those things have had a massive impact on the uptake. Finally, as organizations have come to terms with all of this increased uptake has increased risk that has not gone properly understood and has not been mitigated along the way. So things that were growing incrementally suddenly became very large and past, tipping points to become, wow, that's something that we have to take care of. Whether it's an audit finding that drives that or not, people are realizing that the contingent workforce or the extended workforce is not just something that brings opportunity, but there's a level of stewardship and care that's required as well. So all of those come together to create that awakening.